you're a progressive guy, right?
That sounds pejorative.
Do you ever think that by being married to a person who is, able-bodied and white, that you're not really doing your part for the woke politics that you fucking always push on this podcast?
Are you saying that...
Why aren't you dating a blind lady? That's what I'm saying.
Like the Toxic Avenger, I should have chosen someone who was differently abled?
Sure, or just, culturally different instead of just going for the fucking royal flush. And by that, I mean exceedingly British.
I don't sort of measure my value or worth in life based on my level of wokeness ascribed to me, I think. Maybe.
Wow, this is quite a revelation here in our fourth season. If anyone's been listening to the first three seasons, this is completely antithetical to what we know about you. But all right. Would you date that blind lady, though, that the Toxic Avenger dates?
The Sarah character?
Yeah,
she's very attractive.
Oh, wow. So that's what it comes down to?
I mean...
I have to apologize to all of our listeners.
She's also very accepting, I guess, of the Toxic Avenger.
Oh, she's accepting when she touches his fucking groin bulge.
Yeah, I think that was what really made her accept him.
So it really made her appealing to me. I was like, wow, just went right for the gusto, as it were. Welcome to Pet Movies and Beer. I'm Cooper.
I'm Nolan.
And today... if you could not tell from this ridiculous conversation, we are discussing The Toxic Avenger, our second Troma movie ever. We did Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town back in season 2. It was fucking delightful.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I liked it.
That was a request. That was a great audience request.
Yeah, love that one. So this one, though, we have wanted to do for a while, but it's been a bit of a challenge finding a beer to connect, huh?
Well, it was a challenge until we went to Windsor for a friend's birthday and swung by historic Amherstburg.
Yes, we visited the Lot 10 Brewing Company. This is sort of like a small microbrewery out in Amherstburg, and they have a whole bunch of different beers. They kind of have all the standard craft there, and this one, the Nuclear Sunset Northeast IPA.
Pretty appropriate, I feel, especially at the end of the movie. We get a nice little fucking scene there where he's standing on a horizon and the sun is setting, and it all kind of ties it together.
Yeah, and it's definitely the toxic waste that helps create our hero here, the Toxic Avenger, and we know that nuclear waste or nuclear off-put is definitely something that's created when you are using nuclear energy. That's sort of what a picture of this is a couple smokestacks with the sun going down around.
It's like a power plant, clearly.
Yeah. So we're suggesting that the Toxic Avenger was created through the nuclear waste created by this. So it's not the perfect connection we've ever had, but it's a pretty good one here. I think it'll work. Listen,
like you said, we wanted to do this movie forever, so we saw something that would make a connection with it. We just fucking jumped on it. So
I'm excited for this. Should be. It says unfiltered and hazy. So
it's a New England IPA. A Northeast IPA.
It's gonna be delicious.
I don't want to shit on the fine people of Vermont.
Makers of craft beer and awesomeness, it says on the can. So I'm excited. I haven't had any of their stuff. We just bought this to go, so we didn't have time.
Well, no, but I bought like a 6-pack with a few of these in it. I tried a couple of their beers. They were solid.
Yeah, I like
7% on this bad boy.
Yeah, that's by the end of this, we're going to be as easy to understand as the Toxic Avenger.
It won't be the highest ABV I've had today, but it'll be up there.
We might have to overdub what we're saying,
like they do for the voice. All right, let's just get into this.
Let's get some deep voices and go with that.
We actually get a warning before the movie starts. The Toxic Avenger contains extreme violence, followed by a voiceover that lets us know we're looking at New York City, the world capital of culture and industry. Here, among the towering skyscrapers, civilization is guided by men of progress and the wonders of technology. But for all this industrial advancement, there is a price to pay. Pollution, the unavoidable byproduct of today's society. Every year, millions of gallons of poisonous garbage and radioactive chemicals are disposed of in nearby towns such as Tromaville, the toxic waste dumping capital of the world. And as we quickly see, the Tromaville Health Club is a veritable melting pot of all kinds of people. Hot ones, weird ones, jocks, nerds, greasers, old queens. And right there at the center of it is Melvin Ferd. He's part of the cleaning staff, but his haphazard mopping quickly draws the ire of a gentleman named Bozo and his crew. Nothing I'm saying is doing this opening sequence justice, and that's especially true of the music we get to kick this thing off.
Oh, body talks, buddy.
Dude, it's incredible.
Well, that was a mouthful you just threw out. It was really good, but there is a lot that just went on there. One, that warning pretty fucking necessary.
You think so as we go through here?
There are some gruesome kill shots in this and some that are kind of unexpected first time through. This gym is special, just like you said. You did a good job sort of running down the whole list of stuff, but we're definitely in the heat of the 80s here. I'm thinking, like, let's get physical style of jumpsuits on all the women. All the dudes are in short shorts and
big
topless.
hair on all the girls too.
Yeah. It's pretty special. So many butts and boobs are like
there's a lot
close-ups on them as
butts,
we go
boobs,
through
and
the
bulges.
intros. Oh yeah, that's
the 3
exactly
Bs.
what we got. The triple B, which is the triple threat, and then our character Melvin. They have picked the like nerdiest possible guy with a massive overbite who plays it up to.
They found a donkey boy. Can you still say donkey boy?
I don't know.
Yeah, man. He's got the
I didn't know that saying.
I'd love to see him just eating a whole bag of carrots.
He could. 6 bites and that bag would be done.
No. I'd like to apologize to any of our listeners who may have been referred to as donkey boys before. Noel's really out of control this episode. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem. This 7%er is coming in hot, just like the
So
other
is this
beers we've
movie.
had this before.
This movie comes in hot. This movie is ridiculous. Oh my God. After meeting our cast of characters, we find out a couple of things about Bozo's crew. First, that he and his number 2 man Slug like to go out murdering people for fun by smashing into them with their car. Sort of a Death Race 2000 thing where they score points based on the type of person they kill. And second, that Slug likes to occasionally bribe health club employees to keep people out of the locker room so he can nail his lady there. But I guess whoever he paid on this day didn't do a very good job, as Melvin walks in right as they're doing it and pretty much jizzes his pants. We are like 3 minutes into this movie, and there is no way they can keep this pace up, is there?
I don't understand how they can, right? Bozo.
But they kind of do.
Yeah, I know. It's
It's
insane.
ridiculous.
They are getting hot looking at photos of people that they have run over.
Not
in
yet. That
cars.
comes later.
Well, isn't that what leads them to having sex in that locker room at the start? That girl.
No, she just mentions that she wants to go. The next time they go out, she wants
okay.
to go with them because she wants to see it up close and personal.
But they're getting hot just talking about murder, and they start f***ing. Melvin definitely j***s himself. I don't think he's seen a naked woman like this before.
I mean, to be fair, they are really going at it. Like, her tits are out, and she's just riding him. And Melvin, you're right. He's inexperienced, is a gentle way of putting it. He can't handle what he's seeing.
So we transition from Melvin j***ing himself and running off into the locker room, and then right into Bozo's rage. Kind of the opposite feeling here.
Oh, he does not care for Melvin.
Next time you fuck with me, I'm gonna take this mop and shove it down your throat. I can't take it, Julie. I cannot take it. He is screwing up my karma.
I'm putting that mildly.
No. He is just so angry that Melvin exists, it seems. This Bozo character is, I don't know, what would you describe him as?
He's almost like a jock tweaker. He seems like very high strung. He acknowledges himself. He's constantly getting stressed and he's like twitchy and like whatever. It's like he's on meth in addition to steroids. I don't know.
It does seem like he's been taking hard drugs along with the steroids, and he is having trouble holding
he's
together.
not a big muscular guy. He's kind of like lean.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they couldn't find the right guy.
Oh,
for
in
this
the
part.
80s, they couldn't find a big gassed up muscle head in the fucking 80s? Come on.
There's a couple of them in the intro that might have fit, but maybe they weren't able to carry the quality acting chops that Bozo produced.
Maybe they couldn't find one that would work for free.
Yeah.
That night, Bozo and the gang head out for some of their trademark entertainment, where they go over the murder scoring system and happen to spot a kid who's out for a late night bike ride. They run him over, first in a figurative sense, he flips up over Bozo's car, but then literally as they back up over his head, crushing it in what is just a glorious and hilarious low budget effect.
Oh my God. This is their death race stuff that you were talking about. They first hit him, and he survives the initial contact, likely because he's wearing that helmet. He goes flying over the car in a low effect. The shot of them backing up and running over his head is fucking shocking.
You get the POV of the tires coming towards him, and then it's like they just like squished a cantaloupe.
But I actually think the makeup's pretty good. Like
I mean, listen,
you get like flesh and brains and blood everywhere, and it's fairly traumatic. This is the thing that they warn you about at the start. Like, this to me is maybe the most gruesome thing that happens. Maybe not. There's some other gruesome shit, but
yeah. Well, as someone who's seen more Troma movies than you, I can tell you they do a good job within their limited budget to create that kind of gore. It's almost like a poor man's like Tom Savini, that kind of thing. The next day, we return to the health club, where a prank pulled by Slug at an aerobics class leads to some silly comedy. He puts a snake in the back of the instructor's shirt, which causes him to contort wildly, which, of course, all the women in the class start mimicking. This is classic stuff, and by that I mean it's been done hundreds of times. But don't worry, because before you know it, we are back to our Melvin plot.
Yeah, this interlude is pretty silly. They stick quite a bit of this stuff, or there's a lot of it that's happening in the background of the main scenes. There's a lot of direction for the background actors doing stupid stuff. Sometimes distracting and other times not, but we're back at the Melvin thing, and Bozo's girlfriend, Julie, has got a plan to get back at Melvin just because he's a loser?
Oh, yeah. The plan is essentially to fuck with him. She makes a date with Melvin to meet her in the locker room later. We know this is obviously going to end badly for him, but until a flatbed truck hauling open barrels of toxic waste stops outside the gym, we have no idea just how badly. Why don't you walk us through what happens here, Noel?
Oh my God, this is a whole lot. First, it's hilarious that they take the open containers of toxic waste into Tromaville. We learned earlier that Tromaville is the
toxic waste dumping capital of the world. They mentioned that in the voiceover, yeah.
Exactly. So we kind of know what's up, but the two people delivering it decide to take a break so that they can indulge in some cocaine.
They got a little baggie of cocaine. Decide to pull over to the side of the road, get a couple of toots in before they go on to their next town.
Before they keep moving on with this toxic waste. Julie convinces Melvin to put on what he calls some sissy stuff.
Well, she likes pink. That's her thing.
So he puts on this like jumpsuit with a
ballerina tutu.
Yeah. Well, it's more like a clown's because it's got polka dots on it and stuff, and it's pink in the bottom. But got this funny tutu on, and she leads him into the dark pool area, and we get a little bit of darkness, and we hear him kind of making some like, "Oh, Julie," and the lights turn on, and basically the entire gym is standing over him as he is hugging and kissing a
fucking
goat.
sheep.
Or
Is it a goat?
I don't know. He's kissing an animal with lipstick and a bra on it. He's obviously humiliated and starts running away through this. They all chase him. Like, literally, the whole group of people who were making fun of him in the pool chase him
just to laugh
through
at him.
this place to laugh at him. And it pushes him so far, he runs up to the second story of the building and jumps through the window to escape his tormentors.
Oh, you don't think he was trying just to fucking kill himself?
I mean, maybe.
I mean, it's dark. Either way you look at it,
I felt
dark.
like it was just escaping the like humiliation and torment of making out with the sheep in front of all those people.
By throwing himself out a second-story window?
Well, lucky for him, he lands in a soft landing spot, a bucket of fucking toxic waste. One of those huge steel containers of toxic waste.
Oh, God.
Now, you
okay, it's an absolute bullseye, first of all. Like, he's dead center on one of those barrels. But I should mention, I think you were going to say this a second ago, when he dives out of that window, it is so clearly a stuntman that I almost can't believe it.
The person's hair color changed. They didn't even bother to color it the same hair. You can clearly see it's a different person as the shot transitions through the window and into it. When the actor pulls themselves out of the toxic waste barrel, we can see that Melvin is the same actor.
Yeah, well, they've replaced him.
They've replaced him once they crash down into that barrel. Things are not good, though, for him. This toxic waste is not going great on his skin.
Oh, God, no. There are immediate effects that it's taking on him here. His skin is bulging and bubbling, at one point literally bursting into flames, and yet he manages to run all the way home and seem relatively unscathed, at least until the real transformation happens. And these effects, wow.
Yeah, so he gets home after bursting into flames and running through the town. He locks himself in the bathroom and pours a bath. And then he climbs into the bath, and his skin starts to bubble and boil and transition. And there's actually some okay makeup work here. I don't dislike what I'm seeing, but holy shit does he change. He starts pulling clumps of hair out. He ends up pretty much bald. One of his eyes is about 3 inches lower than his other eye. His skull and all of his muscles start to bulge. He actually becomes quite large and strong.
Oh, yeah, he gets pumped up, man. Definitely.
While he's going through his transition, the funniest part about this whole scene is that his like small mother on the other side keeps knocking, being like, "Are you okay, Melvin?" And then she finishes by having a little celebration, thinking that he's one out for the first time.
She thinks he's fucking whacking off for sure.
My little Melvin. He must have finally reached puberty.
She's happy about it.
Yeah.
She's on to me.
Did your mom cheer you on all the time when you were whacking it off in the bathroom?
Absolutely not. We practiced the standard white people thing of not acknowledging or discussing it, even though it was clearly happening.
That is standard. Yeah, that's standard for sure. Yeah.
He's been forever changed by this process now, as we see the disfigured but incredibly muscular Toxic Avenger running maniacally through a field like some kind of mutant werewolf. And what we quickly realize is that he is headed for the city, where he arrives just in time to save an honest cop from the weirdest fucking gang you've ever seen in your life, led by a guy who is literally named Cigar Face. Oh, maybe not literally.
In the movie, he's called Cigar Face. That's what I'll call him. Bald guy smoking a cigar, and he's got two effeminate people with him.
One of them looks like a poor man's John Rambo. The other one is like a drag queen or something. He's got like a wig on, and he's like very like homosexual stereotype.
There is a lot of that in this early 80s.
Oh, here we go.
There is a whole ton of homophobia in this movie, for sure.
I don't think you can not marry a blind woman and still complain about homophobia. No, get your priorities.
Yeah, I can't speak any more on the things that
you're not
are unfair.
Truly progressive.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess I will never bring up a thing that is progressive in this podcast again. So this cop runs into this strange gang, and they offer him a bribe. They want him on the side of what turns out to be the mayor. They want him on the side of the sort of criminal elite here, which is being run by the mayor of the town. And he turns it down and very quickly starts taking a beating and even gets threatened to be killed before who shows up?
Well, it's a Toxic Avenger, of course. And after scalping Cigar Face's two henchmen by ripping their scalps off their heads with his bare hands, he tosses these guys around in hilarious fashion, pulling one guy's nose off, taking another one's eyes out with a very aggressive Three Stooges style eye poke, and then jamming Cigar Face into a garbage can and speedbagging his dick and balls.
Oh my God, this is some of the best action that I have ever seen.
They're both just fucking dying laughing.
Oh my God, it's so funny. When he elbows the guy and blows up his nose and then pulls the other guy's eyes out immediately on the like backswing. But the speed bag to the nuts has got to be the best thing. The two are clearly dead because after he's poked their eye out and broke their nose, he's smashed their heads together and we get like a cracked skull makeup.
Which also, like I like the effect on this too.
It's pretty good.
Low budget gore, but a good time.
So Cigar Face kind of runs off into the night. He is now a eunuch, so he is talking at a much higher level.
He didn't rip his fucking balls off.
Well, he punched them to smithereens, yeah, so it's basically a eunuch. Smithereens! So he yells some taunt back at the Toxic Avenger in a much higher voice than he had earlier, which is pretty hilarious. And the Toxic Avenger then goes and dusts off the cop and tries to sell him on his way. He tells him not to worry. This is the first time we hear his voice since he's become the Toxic Avenger. How do you describe this to our audience?
Oh, God. Speaking of new voices, yeah, this thing is deep and luxurious and ridiculous. It sounds like someone doing a James Earl Jones impression, but like badly. And the next day, word of his heroism reaches the local media and immediately transforms him into a cult hero. But you know who isn't happy about that? The heavyset mayor, who you already kind of told us is dirty, and the chief of police, who is like a Nazi. That was an odd choice.
Yeah, what the fuck? The chief of police is actually a Nazi in this film.
We don't see him with the swastika, but like it's pretty heavily implied.
He hails the mayor and like does all kinds of craziness.
He hails him like a fucking taxi? He hiles him.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know the clarity on there. But he clearly has a German accent. It feels put on, and I don't understand this choice. But
I mean, they are history's greatest monsters.
Yeah, so they fit along with this
easy movie villain.
Fat, sleazy mayor. They all move along together here.
Institutional corruption. You must have been fucking excited for this, eh?
I had an erection.
Oh, God. I thought we were going to leave all that stuff behind in season 3. We mentioned a lot of episodes in season 3 mentioned erections. It was,
Did they really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
it's frequently used. It's fine. You know what? Let's just steer into it.
I was jubilant.
Your pants were jubilant. We get a quick scene now where Slug pretends to be a hideous monster to sneak up on his lady in the sauna. That'll pay off later. And then the Toxic Avenger returns home after his night in the town to find that his mother is terrified of his new appearance. So with nowhere to stay, he heads to one of the many local toxic waste dumps and decides to make a home for himself among the garbage and rubble and Richard Nixon biographies. but he does bring along a picture of his mom because, you got to make it homey, right?
Not even just a picture. It was one that he has like created a custom frame that has a heart and like beads around it.
It looks like something a fucking 8-year-old would make.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Good. We think maybe here that she's out of the picture, but we'll see if she comes back again later.
Oh, she definitely comes back later. But now it's time to see how deeply rooted crime is in the Tromaville community. As in one scene, the mayor cuts a deal with some local manufacturers to make a new toxic waste dump with even worse environmental impacts, followed by a truly incredible scene at a local Mexican restaurant where a gang of criminals bust in to rob the place and terrorize the customers with some of the worst overacting I have ever seen. Good God.
This might be the best scene in the movie.
It's fucking funny.
It is insane. This band of thieves, and I'm calling them a band because, like, their appearance is something out of a 70s rock band.
Well, and the main guy also introduces them the same way that a guy would introduce his fucking band on stage.
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. So there's one wearing, like, face paint, and this is the guy kind of running the show.
Playing card themed. No, the guy running the place is no face paint. The face paint guy is the second in command. He's got, like, playing card themed, like, diamonds and fucking hearts. And
he's got a shotgun
and
and he's threatening people. There's another guy who's kind of the quiet ninja-like guy who takes a giant gun to go get cash.
Wait a second. Quiet? That dude is like fucking cranked up to 13. He's all twitchy and weird.
Twitchy and weird, but he doesn't say a lot.
What? Fuck, you see when he tries to talk and how bad that is. Do you blame him for not giving him a lot of lines?
No.
He's bad, man.
Yeah, it's true. His acting was shit. And then we kind of have the MC, who's the leader of this crew, telling everyone what's going down.
Oh, he's running the show for sure. And let's just say he has some odd life goals.
We're going to get to that in a moment. So,
you sure are, man.
So they break into this taco joint, and the one guy with the huge revolver is asking for the money. He's got one of the workers held by gunpoint at the cash register. And the other people, like the other two members of the band, are not just okay with them stealing money. They want to raise a little hell here.
Oh, yeah, they are fucking with the customers, one of whom is a blind lady. And after murdering her seeing eye dog, the gang leader decides to act out a lifelong fantasy, as I alluded to earlier.
Hey, Leroy. You know, I always did want to call me a blind bitch. Ow!
What?
No. Luckily,
whose lifelong fantasy is to a blind woman?
All of that.
Oh my God.
I don't know, man. It's weird. It's oddly specific. Luckily, the Toxic Avenger shows up to save the day by ripping this guy's arm off and beating the living shit out of his henchmen.
Oh my God,
he fucks these dudes up.
Oh, it's pretty good. So he tears the arm off, and then we get a bit of a battle scene in the dining room. It kind of reminds me of the scene in the Hulk Hogan movie where he beats up the guys.
No Holds Barred that we watched last season. It reminded me of that too.
Yeah, very similar to that, where they just fucking trash this place as he's fighting the three of them.
Way more gore in this one though.
Oh God, it's way better. This one's way better. That one's pretty hilarious, but this one is way better. So he basically defeats them all, but instead of just like leaving them for the police to take care of, he gets them into the kitchen area, and we get a sequence of some of the best kills in a movie, probably.
Oh my God, dude. The fucking action and sound effects and choreography of this scene are just amazing. He ends up killing one guy with the milkshake machine after first filling his mouth with milkshake ingredients. That was incredible. And then he deep fries the other guy's hands before jamming the leader into a pizza oven. And how does the Toxic Avenger celebrate? By picking up that hot blind lady, which, speaking of things that are going to pay off later, damn.
Yeah, he rescues Sarah, the blind character. He tells her that they need to leave through the back door, and I thought maybe he would have been alluding to something the other guy was talking about.
She's already been threatened with this, man. Don't joke about this.
Yeah. So he leads her out of there. He knows that the police are probably on their way and doesn't want the trouble of that. So they head out on a walk together. He's going to take her home. She says that they've killed her dog, which was what we saw, and she can't make it on her own.
I didn't like that. That was rough. They cut to the dog, and it's got this gaping fucking torso wound. That was by far the worst part of the movie for me.
You hated the dog dying.
I love dogs, man.
Not the kid getting driven over his head by a car.
That actually bothered me less.
That's shocking to me.
The kid was kind of a wiener. I don't know. Like, you know.
So he deserved to have his head driven over?
I didn't say that, but the dog is the fucking innocent dog. I felt sad about that.
I felt more sad about the child who got ran over. But
it's a good point by you, but I don't know. Now, I said that picking up that blind is going to pay off later, but it immediately pays off with some world-class blind humor. When they get back to her apartment, she's tripping and knocking stuff over, and she ends up caning the Toxic Avenger right in the balls. She also accidentally grabs his dick in a minute, which is both hilarious and arousing, as I mentioned earlier.
This is after she touched his hand and said, "What big hand?" So it was
she's telling his fortune, and his fortune is you're going to nail a blind lady.
It was not unintentional that after she held his large hands, she needed to grab his to make sure he had the real biz.
The real biz. I mean, this is all coming to a head, so to speak. And with the public wanting answers, they turn to a local scientist or doctor. He's holding a stethoscope the whole time he's talking to the press. I don't know what's going on here. Talking about how the monster, as they're calling him, is compelled to attack evil people as evidenced by the fact that all of his victims have been evil. Now, this guy's German too, so is he evil? I kind of forgot while watching this.
It's so weird. I don't understand some of the choices they're making in the accents and things they're going with. They're just trying to throw in as much things that people will laugh at as possible, it seems like.
I guess, but I didn't find this scene particularly funny. Anyway, we get more corruption now, as we find out there's a lot of illegal activity happening at the Tromaville Health Club, all under the watchful eye of the mayor. We see some vials and powders being exchanged, and it also gets drilled home when a guy brings a bag full of cash to the mayor and says,
Mr. Mayor, I got today's receipts from the drug division.
subtle.
Yeah, fucking Dennis is the drug dealer here. He's been handing out all kinds of drugs at the gym. And clearly it's been profitable. The mayor is happy, but then we transition back to Dennis getting his pump on.
Well, for a minute, until the Toxic Avenger storms in, which causes everyone to flee. And he loads it up, similar to when we watched Happy Birthday to Me back in fucking season 2, also our birthday episode, where the guy fucking drops the thing on that dude's balls.
That's the best weightlifting
right away,
kill
right?
ever.
Yeah.
You can't move away from that. When that guy's junk gets destroyed by the fucking weight, it's got to be one of the best deaths in a movie ever. But this one is a pretty good second, I'd say, in terms of weightlifting deaths here.
Oh, for sure. He cranks the fucking thing up. So it's got that metal kind of spike underneath all the heavy weight. He's got hundreds of pounds of weight up there, and he slides the guy's head underneath it, then just drops it, and it crushes this dude's head. Another fucking hilarious low budget effect. Really fun.
Every time someone dies in this movie, their body twitches for quite a long time, and we get another one of those. But this is an enjoyable kill here. The drug dealer, Dennis, is down, so no longer going to be filling that club full of steroids and other things that are being consumed mostly by Bozo.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. The Toxic Avenger here is not just targeting the people who fucked him up. He's going after criminals in general, but that changes in a second when we see Slug's lady enter the sauna. And I mentioned subtlety earlier. You know, it was not super subtle. The way they show us that she's turned on by their fucking car attack murder game. She takes some pictures of that dead kid into the sauna and starts one out. Good Lord.
Yeah, when the Toxic Avenger finds her, she's wrist herself. She has trouble getting as the Toxic Avenger picks her up and throws her on those hot stones.
God damn it. Yeah, he murders her. And this is where we get the payoff from that scene I mentioned earlier. As the Toxic Avenger sneaks up on her wrapped up in blankets, she just thinks it's Slug, but that changes when she pulls the blankets off to reveal a close-up of the Toxic Avenger's deformed face for the very first time.
Yeah, this is interesting because it's sort of the reveal. I'm surprised we didn't see it earlier because he's done a lot of action since he transformed, but kind of reminds me of the character from the Goonies, although this comes out first.
Yeah, you're right. He does look a little bit like Sloth.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, he fucking just murders her. He throws her on the hot coals and burns her ass off.
Let this be a lesson to your hot ass, I think he said. Something like that. So we get some kind of funny lines here as he's cleaning up the town. I mean, I don't feel any remorse for her death after she went in there to one out looking at children's
She's
deaths.
masturbating to a picture of a dead kid. She deserves to die.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned him cleaning up the town. He's kind of doing the opposite in the next scene. We cut to him just pissing in an alley.
The piss is coming out green too. It's toxic, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then makes me wonder what his semen is like.
Oh, God damn it. And then a limo pulls up, and there's a pimp in there who offers him some 12-year-old poontang, only $12. God damn. Everything about this is disgusting to me.
It's
the
awful.
age is too low. The price is too low. It's all wrong.
Thankfully, he's offering this deal to the Toxic Avenger and not some other Tromaville sleazebag.
The mayor would have taken that deal.
Oh, God, yeah.
But the Toxic Avenger just fucking murders.
the key customer of this fucking pimp. But Toxic Avenger grabs this pimp and holds him up against a wall, and then we see a limo full of goons come out, and the Toxic Avenger just fucking kicks their ass.
Oh, yeah. It's like a clown car that he just quickly obliterates. And this launches us into a montage of him fighting crime and doing generally good deeds among the city, complete with spinning newspaper headlines. How much did you love this shit?
Oh, it was great. We got shots of him walking grandmas across the street. He's opening jars for women who are finding it difficult.
He's knocking on their windows to open jars they can't open.
He's saving children from Bozo and his fucking driving game. This is wonderful. He's winning the town over. They are in love with the Toxic Avenger. I start calling him the TA at this point.
Yeah, you referring to him as TA was like low-key cracking me up this whole time.
I'm loving the
I really
TA
enjoyed
here,
it, yeah. At the end of the sequence, we see that he has made some incredible headway here. According to the mayor, he has wiped out all the criminals in the city except them. So the mayor decides to send some goons to ambush him, and you'll never guess who's leading the attack. Here, let me give you a hint.
I owe you for the other night, monster So now we're gonna give you 6 new assholes. Compliments of me, Cigar Face.
Damn it. I love that he keeps saying his own name. He constantly is introducing himself, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, he loves that to make sure that everyone knows that it is Cigar Face who is doing
Sure
inappropriate things to them. So Cigar Face and his goons have Toxic Avenger in a bad place. They've all got guns pulled, and they're about to kill him. As they go to shoot, the Toxic Avenger leaps in the air onto a, second story as all of the gangsters shoot each other across. They were lined up perfectly to kill each other. We've got a fucking no blood on the hands of the TA as they're all just laying there dead in an alley.
God damn it, it's true. These are truly happy times for the Toxic Avenger. His life is filled with purpose, and his relationship with that blind lady couldn't be better. In fact, we get another montage where he bangs her and then quickly experiences all kinds of domestic bliss. And here's something I learned from this sequence. The Toxic Avenger's smokes when he gets aroused. There's smoke coming off his dong.
That's true. There was some steam and smoke. This is why I'm asking what his semen is like. I'm also wondering why Sarah's not feeling any of the effects of the toxic dump they live in or the semen that he's implanting inside her. It'd have to be what can contain radioactive materials? He's going to have some kind of metal dong bag.
You know what? They never, I haven't seen the third movie, but if they didn't have her have a child with him, that's a huge mistake. Son of Toxic Avenger, that's a movie you could absolutely make today.
There's 4 of these, right?
3 for sure. I think the 4th one, well, maybe 4. I don't know.
They're
making a new one though.
Are they?
They're making a new one that should be coming out I think in a year or so.
We need to watch the other 3 before that comes out and then go see it live.
I would happily go see the new Toxic Avenger. Are you shitting me? Absolutely. He has still got some scores to settle, so he heads back to the Tromaville Health Club and finds Julie. She runs into the bowels of the building, which are both surprisingly big and disgusting. Kind of seems like they do a better job on maintenance there. But either way, he corners her in the boiler room and puts her out of misery with a pair of scissors. He also puts us out of our misery as her acting here is just atrocious.
Oh my God. It is so bad. There is at least 6 minutes of her horribly screaming and none of it being believable. The only good part of this scene or sequence of her death is when they transition from her screaming to Bozo, her boyfriend. There's a really nice cut as it ends there. I thought there was going to be a better payoff for him chasing her down into the bowels here. They were just showing us, I guess, some more setting, but I thought this one could have been better. A lot of the other kills have been spectacular, and this one underwhelmed, I guess.
You don't even see him kill her. They just cut, like you said, she screams and it cuts to Bozo, which is a nice transition, I agree. Bozo is screaming because he's stressed again. Apparently, Julie isn't returning his calls, go figure. So Slug suggests a daytime round of their favorite game, Murder Drive. I don't know if that's what they call it, but if that isn't already a movie title.
You're working on the screenplay?
Wouldn't you go see a movie called Murder Drive? I would.
I don't know. Is it related to
Mulholland Drive? That movie?
That's not where I was going. I was thinking of Crash, the David Cronenberg movie, but
the one where people get turned on by fucking car crashes.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah,
that's an alarmingly bad movie. Also, the Toxic Avenger jumps on the roof of their car, holding on with handles we can clearly see in the wide shots, then throws Slug out after what I thought was a MacGruber-style throat rip, but his throat's pretty intact when we see his body stop rolling. You know what does not stop rolling, though? The car, as Bozo just keeps driving it for some reason. Why was he still driving this car?
This is a lot. This is the chase sequence of the film. This has been written in there so that they can show the driving aspects. Him on top while holding on to the clear handholds is hilarious.
You can see it so clearly,
it's
right?
so clear. When he rips Slug out of the car, he clearly kind of chokes him to death. We get some blood coming out of there. The reason why Bozo is not stopping this car is because the Toxic Avenger has plunged his foot onto the gas pedal at full speed.
Like he's straddling the center of the car and just like,
and he's got his foot rammed onto there. So he won't allow Bozo to take it off because I think he assumes and he knows rightfully that he's pretty unkillable. He's been shot at. All kinds of things have happened to him, and he's surviving it. So I think he assumes here, no matter what happens to them in this car crash, he's going to make it through. What's interesting to me is the Toxic Avenger does not mind putting random people at risk here. There's all kinds
Oh my God, yeah.
There's all kinds of other cars that end up crashing and exploding, or there's also like a group of children playing that they drive right through and almost kill.
Yeah, that's how this wildly reckless quest for revenge ends. They drive through a playground full of kids. They'll get out of the way, though, don't worry. And then fly over a cliff, bounce a couple of times before smashing to the ground below, with the Toxic Avenger laughing all the while. How'd you feel about this car crash?
They go down quite a big hill, a bit of a cliff, but they sort of settle and then all of the sudden explode.
Yeah, how'd you like that?
Yeah, I was angry.
I'll say. Were you more happy about the next scene where some old dwarf lady brings her son's pants into the dry cleaner?
Oh my God. They introduce a little person.
She is, right? I'm not imagining that.
No, I think so. I think she's a little person, and she's brought in the pants of her son, who she said went out with one of his best girls the night before, and it is just jeans covered in white stickiness.
Stains all over these. What is happening?
How could you as a mom not know what it was? And two, why would you take it to a public dry cleaner? Was she bragging? Was she showing off that her son is like...
Great at a load all over the front of his own pants?
Well,
like,
that's
what?
the problem too. Why is it on his pants and not inside the lady friend that he was hanging out with?
Also, who dry cleans jeans? Can I mention that?
All of this is strange. What I'm sensing here is this is all a reason or excuse to get the Toxic Avenger into a dry cleaning facility.
Oh, he gets in there, all right. What does he do to the lady?
We don't know the context here, and it's a little bit concerning because he takes this small woman and he throws her inside of one of the industrial dry cleaning machines and runs it.
Oh, yeah, he kills her straight up. And the headlines the next day say monster murders innocent woman. And this does seem odd. In fact, in our next scene, we see the Toxic Avenger is himself questioning what he's doing. As he tells his blind lady,
I think I'm out of control.
You see, you're blind, Sarah. You don't know who I am. I'm really the monster hero you've heard about. And every day I go out and I mash people. I tear them apart and I can't stop.
You better move back to your apartment. I don't think it's safe for you to be around me.
but to her credit, she is a real stand by her man type, which I love. And it turns out that old lady wasn't innocent at all. She was the head of an underground white slavery ring. Does that mean the slaves are white, or
I don't know. I assume so.
or is it being run by white people? I feel like you would just call it a slavery ring, but if it's a white slavery ring,
I'm not sure. The good news is
we know it's bad.
The good news is she was bad, and so she's been taken care of. The problem is the news does not know this, and so the mayor and his cronies are going to use this to their advantage. What do they start setting up?
Oh, yeah. Despite the fact that the police know this lady was evil, the mayor does see an opportunity here, so he decides to cover up her wrongdoing and pump up the story the Toxic Avenger is a monster who's going around dry cleaning old ladies. Little does he know, this will thoroughly divide the community, as evidenced in our next few scenes.
So a manhunt is going to start for a Toxic Avenger. The Toxic Avenger knows he needs to relocate, so him and Sarah, his girlfriend, decide to flee to a local farm.
It seemed more like a field. They just like pitch a tent in a field and that's it.
I know, they describe it as the outskirts of some farm, but they pitch a tent in the fields, and we know what that means.
They're gonna in a tent.
Yeah.
That's that all it is.
Yeah. This is just a plan for the Toxic Avenger to go lay more pipe in a tent. So He and Sarah head off and they go do a bunch of that, and the town starts searching for him. Not only did the town start searching for him, but our mayor calls in a favor from the governor. He makes a phone call, and who gets sent to help them track down this monster?
Well, it's the National Guard, but that happens after two terribly actors in ill-fitting police outfits spot the tent with the Toxic Avenger and his lady, or Bimbo as they call her. So yeah, he calls the National Guard in, and the mayor is kind of really feeling himself here, holding a gun up and talking about how they're going to kill him. You know who else is feeling himself here? That now clearly Nazi police chief.
Yeah, he is.
They've dialed it up here now.
He's
There's no
hiled
mistaking
several times,
Yeah.
and yeah, things are going really bad. So Nazi police chief and the mayor are going to be sending tanks in the National Guard after the Toxic Avenger.
Hey, but you know who's not on board with this? The citizens of Tromaville.
In particular, a lot of screen time is given to one of the employees of the taco restaurant that he saved.
Yeah, man. They saved his life.
Yeah, but he gets a lot of screen time here saying how this isn't okay, and he becomes the one to start like rallying the town in the Toxic Avenger's favor.
It's true. And this all culminates with the entire police force, National Guard, and basically the whole town surrounding that tent the Toxic Avenger is in with his blind lady, guns drawn, and many of the town's citizens pleading with the mayor to call this off. But actions speak louder than words. So what do the fine citizens of Tromaville do when the mayor orders them out of the tent?
Well, they step in front. They are going to human shield the Toxic Avenger. They all go in front of the mayor and his cronies and prevent them from shooting here.
Oh, they do, but I don't feel like anyone actually wants to shoot.
Well, the mayor definitely does.
That's true, but the police can't do it. They're like, no, these kids are right. The National Guard doesn't want to, but they have no fucking connection to this guy, but they don't want to do it either. I don't know why.
Yeah, and then the Toxic Avenger is kind of like thanks them and then moves his way past the human shield. It was interesting here. If he was really in danger or if the mayor really wanted to kill him, he could have shot at him right as he passes through.
Well, he doesn't want to risk the kid's life. Toxic Avenger's doing exactly what he should do. He's the fucking hero. And the mayor does want to kill him. And with nobody following his orders, that's what he decides to do. He takes matters in his own hands. But despite shooting the Toxic Avenger several times, he just keeps advancing. So the mayor eventually crumbles into a fetal position and begs the Toxic Avenger not to kill him, even offering him a cut of all the drug money flowing through the Tromaville Health Club. And the Toxic Avenger's response?
You fat slob, let's see if you have any guts.
Then he rips his intestines out and everyone cheers. Jesus.
This kid's graphic. I think that offer was 10% of all the money this mayor was making, and he was getting a lot of money. I don't think it was just drug fronts. There was like real estate and all kinds of shit. He was all over it. But when he fucking plunges his fist into this fat mayor and hauls out his guts.
He punches right through his stomach.
Oh my God, it's intense. The graphicness of the guts getting pulled out and then the mayor pathetically trying to shove them back in is pretty hilarious. The mayor bleeds out as he is like lying dead. And what's
everyone's
interesting
celebrating.
is everyone celebrates. Yeah. Like the rest of the badness that was going on is gone. Even the Nazi chief of police doesn't continue his attack on the Toxic Avenger at this point.
It's true, man. Everyone's happy. And with everything wrapped up, we get an outro from our narrator who lets us know that Melvin, the monster hero, rid Tromaville of all its evil so the good citizens could live their lives in peace and happiness. And the next time you're in danger or need of help, look to the horizon and maybe, just maybe, the Toxic Avenger will be there. And as he pauses in front of a nuclear sunset, we get a freeze frame, followed by that glorious opening song once again for the end credits. Hot damn.
Woohoo! Damn, this song is hot, by the way. I'm enjoying this song.
That's great shit. When it came up again, I practically fucking cheered.
Yeah, this 80s soundtrack is pretty fantastic. It's one of the things we're going to talk about, I think, when we get to our rating here.
We might as well get to our rating right now since we're in the end credits. The way we always do this, we rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10 two times. 1 to 10 for how bad it is, 1 to 10 for how enjoyable, and the goal is to find movies that are 10 out of 10 on both scales, or what we call the Crit 20. And for me, I have to say, this is 100% in play because nobody in this movie can act. Nobody. And I'm sure some of these performances were intentional, but not all of them. There's no way you can tell me all of these were intentional performances.
What about the fat mayor?
He's trying his hardest and he's terrible. The script for this is ridiculous. The effects are ridiculous. Most of the jokes and situations are ridiculous, bordering on offensive. In other words, it's a Troma movie. And this will come up again in my enjoyable rating. The music, we just talked about this. It's fucking glorious, but also in a ridiculous way. Like, I was actively laughing at some of the lyrics in these songs. There's a ballad halfway through where I was just fucking dying. They're singing about like some slow night as he fucking nails her. I don't know what that means.
There's some good ones in here.
Yeah, man. And yes, this is extremely low budget, just your classic B movie in every sense of the word. Are there scenes that are well shot considering the budget? Yes, a couple, but are there also a lot of scenes that aren't necessary or don't make sense or are absolute padding? Absolutely there are. So despite a couple of nice flourishes, I have this as a 10 bad. If you want to, you can consider this as one of those ones where I round up from like a 9.5 or whatever, but 10 out of 10 bad. The crit 20's in play. What do you think?
Oh, this is the second time I've watched this movie in not too long a period, in a few months. And so it's interesting watching it a second time. The acting is atrocious, just absolutely out of control. The overacting, the amount of people that have been directed to be at an 11 is like 90%.
It's everyone. It's the whole town.
It's a lot. The writing is suspect. There's some good one-liners and there's some good intros and exposition, but in general, the like plot itself doesn't make a lot of sense. We pop to all kinds of really ridiculous places just because it's fun, I think. The overdub was surprising and a lot.
Oh, of the Toxic Avenger's voice?
Oh, God, yeah.
It's egregious.
The excessive use of sound effects in all of the scenes, but in particular the action and fight scenes is aggressive. Some of the effects are also interesting when the person dives out of the window and it's clearly a stunt person and the hands on the bars. There's so much here that you're just like, yeah, this has to be a 10 bad.
There you go. Okay. Now, how enjoyable did you find this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? Do we have our first Crit 20 of the season?
We're only in the second episode. That would be an early Crit 20, I guess. So the things that I enjoyed, I laughed my ass off at this movie. I was in tears laughing at times, for sure. A lot of the deaths were incredibly enjoyable.
Yep.
I thought that there were a lot of really funny, but also well done deaths. I actually thought for the budget, the makeup was quite good. Even the transition into the Toxic Avenger, as well as like the skull exploding. I mean,
but again, for the budget is
for
the
the budget. I think that they did it. There was a lot of hilarity. There was a nice amount of nudity. The relationship.
There's not that much nudity.
Enough.
You see a little bit of boobs.
Yeah, that's the right amount for this. Like, if you did this movie and there was no nudity,
oh, that's a crime against humanity.
It would be, you wouldn't feel like it was the right amount. The Toxic Avenger character and the Sarah character are both just so funny, and the way that they unconditionally love each other out of nowhere is sweet and pretty adorable. I have to give this a 10.
Yeah, it's a 20. We did it. Amazing. Second episode of the season.
And this is the second time I've seen it in a couple months, and I would watch it again tomorrow. Like, this is a movie that is so funny. This is a movie that I would love to introduce to others. If you haven't seen The Toxic Avenger, it's something that you need to see because it is super fun.
So this ties directly into my rating for how enjoyable this movie is. Like, refer to my comments earlier. It's a Troma movie. It's a weird, silly, schlocky good time. And I think we mentioned this in previous seasons, but this would be a good barometer for me as to whether or not I would like a person. Like, if you like The Toxic Avenger, we're cool. If you would watch this and be offended or grossed out or whatever, we're probably not going to get along. Like, honestly.
You're like, there's no sense of humor there. This
exactly. This is what you're saying too, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that it would be fun to watch with people who would enjoy it.
Definitely. I laughed. I cried from laughing. I sat there with my mouth agape when I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was an absolutely incredible experience. But having said that, there was one thing I didn't like, which was when they shot that dog in the restaurant scene.
I can't believe you're going back to the dog and not running over the kid again.
You know what? If they hadn't cut to the shot of it like struggling to breathe with the gaping wound, I would have breezed right past it. But the fact that they go back to it, that really bothered me. So for that reason, I'm only going to give this a 9 for enjoyable. But
you're pumping this shit up right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
am doing this knowing full well the movie ends with a freeze frame. And if you have listened to our previous seasons, you know that I always give a bonus point for a freeze frame ending. So I am back up to 10, which means, like yourself, I am also giving this a Crit 20. This is a great fucking time. And I think we both knew, like, when we put this in the docket for this season, we're both like, oh, that's going to be a fucking, like,
we kind of
automatic. But you know what?
Yeah.
It lives up to it. Your second viewing is probably my third or fourth. What a great fucking time this movie is. Cannot recommend this strongly enough. And if you don't like this movie, fuck you.
You're a bad person.
We are not cool. Unsubscribe right now.
No, keep listening and subscribing. But we don't like you.
We can agree to disagree. It's fine. No, man, this is great shit. I fucking love Troma. If I have my way, we will cash another Troma movie like real soon, like probably before the end of the season or whatever. Like I've got one or two more where I'm like, we could definitely do it. Just got to find a beer selection. So just a good time. And speaking of beer selections, how did you feel about this Nuclear Sunset?
I got through it without any problems for sure. That's
not exactly a fucking ringing endorsement.
Well, it was not what I expected, though. I would say it fell more into a standard IPA, if not a West Coast IPA, rather than a Northeast or New England style IPA. Wasn't quite hazy, wasn't quite hoppy enough for me. I don't know, which might have meant it was a more enjoyable experience for you.
Yeah, so I'll be honest. I was fucking dreading this thing. And despite it claiming to be unfiltered and hazy, when I poured it, it wasn't very hazy. And it also didn't like seem, you know, on like unfiltered beers, have like the stuff kind of floating in it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't notice any of that. I thought this was actually pretty like clean and I kind of enjoyed it. Like I was like, wow, man, I gotta fucking drink this again, which for me and an IPA is not my style. But I actually, so I'm like, oh, Noel's gonna fucking hate this.
It would be on the lower end of the IPAs that I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
Not to say it wasn't undrinkable or a bad beer. I enjoyed it for beer's sake, but I almost feel like it's a bit of false advertising. I feel like they need to get that recipe down a little bit more.
Well, I have to say, if I was being forced to drink an IPA, I would reach for this one every day of the week. Like, I'm like, yeah, slide me over that Nuclear Sunset. If I have to drink one, I'll drink it, and I'll drink it happily because I didn't think it was that bad at all. I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really wish it was much hazier and much more of any IPA. But
man, I fucking dodged a bullet here. This feels tremendous.
Shit, oh my God.
So
this
happy
is
with
an
the way this
episode for
worked out.
Goober right here.
It really is. Well, I don't know if I'll be so lucky next week, though, because next week we're going to be drinking another fucking some kind of pale ale. I think it's from England. When we watch a little movie called Death Ship.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Do you like boats, Noel?
Who doesn't?
Do you like boats that try and murder people?
Well, less so, I think, than boats. Everyone likes being on the water, but not when they're trying to be murdered.
Yeah.
It's something about the implication.
The implication. Well, there's no implication here. I can tell you that next week we'll be enjoying some fucking late 70s, early 80s horror when we watch Death Ship. A movie about a boat that fucking kills people. That'll be a good time.
I'm looking forward to this. Anytime we get to watch some kind of old horror, I enjoy it. You know that.
You've become like a real fucking 80s horror slut.
I really have. I will watch and or consume any 80s horror. You send it my way and I am
Send it in.
Send it in, everyone.
Send him some 80s horror.
Yeah.
And I love it too.
Yeah.
We all do. It's a great genre. Let's not gloss over the fact that in our second episode of the season, we've already scored our first Crit 20 and a mutual for both of us. The Toxic Avenger. I cannot overstate how enjoyable this is. If you haven't seen Toxic Avenger, first of all, why are you listening to this? And second of all, get on that shit. It's a great time.
It really is. When was the last time we had a Crit 20? It's been a long time.
One that we both had?
Yeah.
Miami Connection?
That's season 2.
Season 3? No,
That
we
was
had
start of
fucking,
season
we
3?
had fucking 3 last year.
Oh, they were all at the start, though. Second half of the season was a little bit quiet, so we're coming in hot this season.
We are, but there's no halves anymore. It's just one season. We're going with this 2-week thing. And 2 weeks from today, we'll be fucking talking about Death Ship. We hope you'll join us for that. But if you have not already, please follow us on social media at the BMB Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Send us emails, thebmbpodcast@gmail.com.
Definitely. We always love hearing from you. And we hope to see you 2 weeks from today for Death Ship. Until then, I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And we'll see you next time on Bad Movies and Beer.
Be like Melvin. Keep mopping up the streets.
There you go. I like it. He was 98 pounds of solid nerd until he became the Toxic Avenger.